If you clicked on this video, I would assume that you're recognizing that sometimes shots look better when they're not locked off. Most of the time, actually. So I'm going to show you how to take a locked off shot and add some camera movement into it, or like camera movement into it in post inside of Davinci Resolve. So make sure you've subscribed because it actually does make a difference. And without any further ado, let's jump into the video. So here we are inside of Davinci Resolve. I've got some clips over here and some clips out here. The movement that we're going to be jumping into first is going to be representative of what would essentially be a trucking shot. A trucking shot is when you're holding your camera or you have your camera on something or whatever, and it moves from left to right. The thing is, when you do that with an actual camera, things move in relation to each other. So the background will move against the foreground and vice versa, giving your footage a very like the camera is moving kind of a look. Now, the image we have here is the image we have. So nothing in the background is going to be moving in relation to things in the foreground unless we do a ton of masking. But for this, all we're going to do is punch in a little bit so that we have some room to work, because if we move this right now, you'll see that we get this big black bar because that's all the data we have. This is our shot. So if we want to move it over and actually get our trucking shot going, we're going to need to zoom in a little bit. So we'll zoom in to 1.15. Once we've done that, we're going to move this over to the left until we get to that edge. So now what we're going to do in order to add our motion in is go ahead and keyframe our position here right at the beginning of the clip. And then at the end of the clip, or wherever you want the motion to end, we're going to go ahead and move that way over. Not way over. You don't want this to look ridiculous. We're going to move over to, say, right there, where she's about centered, and we have the yellow on this side and the blue on this side. Just nice contrast. Now, since we have our keyframe set, if we hit play, we'll see that this shot now has some motion. And it looks significantly different than it did when it had no motion. So we're going to get rid of our keyframes, and now if we watch this back, there's no movement in the shot, definitely not as dynamic. So that's what we're going to do for like a trucking shot. A lot of these are going to be used in conjunction with one another. So with the last one, we had to zoom and adjust our X value for our position. This one, we're going to do the same thing, but it's going to be primarily the zoom. What I want to do here is zoom in on this little girl's dad and just have him be the only subject in the shot. And then we're going to zoom out and reveal that he's sitting at the table with his daughter. We're going to go ahead and click on this, and then we'll zoom in and we'll move that over. We're going to kind of get a close-up on this dude's face is how this is going to end up. There's a little bit of shakiness in this clip, but there's no like intentional camera motion. And that shakiness does make it look a little bit more natural and feel a little bit better, but it's not going to give you movement, right? It's not going to give you that dynamic movement. So you'll see that happening. This one's not locked off, but we're going to deal with it. So we hit play, we watch, and he's making faces. We can assume that he's making faces at something or at someone, but until the camera zooms out, we're not going to actually know that for sure. So I'm going to make a keyframe right here, and then from here to the end of the clip, we're going to spend some time zooming out and resetting those values so that we can see everything, right? So I double-clicked on the words zoom and position to reset them to their original values. Now if we go to the beginning of this clip and we watch it back, we just see a guy talking to somebody doing this, but we're not sure what he's doing, and then it zooms out, and we see his daughter taking a picture of him. And something you can do to actually make this more smooth, like if you watch when we start our zoom here, it kind of just starts, it like slams on, and then it slams off at the end. So we're going to click on our little timeline spline editor, and we're going to grab this keyframe right here, and we're going to make that smooth. So now if we watch when it starts, right here, it should kind of glide into it a little bit more than it did last time. And if you want to accentuate that, just grab this little arm here and move it however you want to move it. So that covers our zoom effect in post. Now what we're going to do is the same kind of like reveal, but we're going to do it like a boom shot where it's moving up and down facing the same direction the whole time. So we're going to grab this and we're going to hide who is actually holding this bag until around here, right? Until he gets it all the way up in front of him. So I'm going to go ahead and make a keyframe right here. And then we'll pop on over to the beginning and we'll add some more keyframes. And what we're going to do for this is actually just zoom in so that we get him in frame. And then we're going to bring our Y value so that we get more like right here. And then we're going to go right here and we're going to move that back up, or zoom back in rather. So we're going to get rid of that second zoom keyframe there. Then we go back. All right, so let's check this out. Definitely want to pop something in here that says put that back where it was. So we'll go back a keyframe and we're at 357. So we'll go 357 right here as well. So now if we watch this, we see that, and then we should zoom out. So we'll get to right here, and then we'll start zooming out. So we'll make a keyframe, and then as we get toward where we want to have the whole thing revealed, we'll zoom out, and we'll show that it's this guy. So we'll hit play. We have it moving up the body, and then it's going to pull out, and it's going to reveal who is doing the shopping. So that's how you're going to get your boom motion in. And again, it looks great when you do it in camera. It's a little bit tougher to get it looking perfect in post. So try it if you know that you're going to need a movement for a shot. Shoot it in camera because it will look better. Next, we're going to add some rotation to a shot, and we're going to use this shot of a Bitcoin with a lock being placed in front of it. So we have our Bitcoin. We're actually going to zoom in on this one, not as part of the movement, but just so that we can center our Bitcoin here, because that's what I want for the shot. And we're going to set a keyframe at the beginning, or whenever you want your movement to start, just like before, back to where we want it to be done spinning. And we will add another rotation keyframe. We'll pop forward, get rid of that one, erase our mistakes. So we start at 0 rotation, and we're going to go a full 360. So we're going to go to our end keyframe here, and we're going to type 360 into the box. And now if we watch this back, it's going to do a full spin. You can see there that we actually lost some of it. That's because we're so close to the bottom of the screen here. If we zoom in a bit more and then go back, now if we watch it, we should eliminate that black portion. Yeah. So we have our Bitcoin, get to right here, it spins, and then it stops with the lock. Now that one is going to be very stylistically like polarizing, I guess. Some people like the way that looks, other people really don't. I am in the camp of people that are not a huge fan of the way the in-post rotation looks, but I get it. It's hard to spin your camera and have it look smooth. So if you need to do it this way, that's how you rotate your footage. So there's already a little bit of shake in this shot, but not very much at all. So we're going to actually add in some more. So the way that we're going to add more shake into this shot is by using an adjustment layer. So I'm going to open up my effects and my effects library. If this isn't open for you, just go ahead and click on effects library up top left. And then we're going to click on effects inside of our toolbox. And we're going to drag out an adjustment clip. We can make this as long or as short as we need it to be, but we're just going to leave it the standard length for this. Now that we have our adjustment clip, we're going to go ahead and pop into Fusion. Don't worry, if you're new to Fusion, this is super easy and shouldn't be too hard. So we're going to go ahead and drag over both of these nodes and then drag them toward the middle. And we're going to click on our first one, media in number 1, and then we're going to hit Shift Space and type in camera shake, or just shake. That'll bring it up. And then we want to grab this little magic wand camera shake right here, go ahead and hit add, and now we can see that our clip has shifted. It's moved down a little bit to the right, but it's also rotated slightly. You see these little boxes. The best way that I've found normally to eliminate this is by going over to edges and then choosing mirror. Sometimes this doesn't work, but a lot of the time, especially like right now, it works pretty well. We have a little mirror up there and it might be noticeable, but if there's anything going on and the cut's only on screen for a little bit, you're not gonna notice. Your average viewer is not gonna notice. We're gonna turn that speed way down, just like that, and we're gonna turn our overall strength way down as well. We're gonna go ahead and pop back to our edit page, hit play, and we'll see that we have some shake. We're going to need to turn up the randomness and things like that, but play with those settings as you need. That's how you add camera shake into a shot that was not shot with shake. I'm going to reiterate now that you can and definitely should be combining these together. A lot of the time when you're going to add movement in post, it is definitely beneficial to use more than one of these at the same time. Sometimes you absolutely have to, other times you don't, but you always should. So if you want to learn more about DaVinci Resolve, make sure to click on the video in the end card or any of them down in the description. And if you have any questions about any of these movements or literally anything else, please ask them in the comments down below because I would love to talk to you guys. Also, if you made it this far in the video, chances are pretty good that you got something out of this video. So if you could, and I know I already said this in the beginning, but if you could please subscribe, it does make a big difference. That's all for today. I'll see you in the next one.